Hi everyone, and welcome to Office Hours. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, my name is Sandra Gonzalez and I'm the instructor for the online course. So congratulations on making it to the last week. And just as a reminder, Friday is the last day for the online course, so make sure that you have all your assignments turned in by midnight Eastern Standard Time. Okay, it's also going to be the last day that I'm going to be monitoring the Ask the Expert forum. So just get your questions in before then. All right, so today is going to work the same as last week. I'm going to spend the first half of office hours on the YouTube broadcast. Okay, I'm going to go over some of the concepts that you've learned this week, as well as answer any questions about the homework assignments. And then about 45 minutes into this broadcast, we're going to end it, and then we're going to move over to the telephone conference line. And that phone number is in the email that I sent out earlier, and so is the link for Zoom, so that you can still see me and you can see my screen and anything that I need to share with all of you. Okay, if you haven't done so already, just make sure that you have signed into your Gmail account if you want to post anything, any questions or concerns into the chat forum on YouTube. All right, good. Okay, it's great to see everybody. Thanks for joining us. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen really quick, and we're going to go through some of the slides. Okay, so you should have received these slides in the email that I sent out earlier. Okay, here we go. So I see that a lot of you have more than one business idea. Actually, more than half the class has 2 business ideas. Some of you have even more than that. So one of the legal entities I'm going to cover today is called the DBA. It stands for Doing Business As. Okay, there's a couple of different advantages to this. It doesn't offer you the full veil of protection as an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp would, but it allows you to do business under a fictitious name or a trade name. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some examples of this. Oops. Okay, so Kellogg is an example of a corporation, but under the Kellogg Corporation they sell several different brands. So Eggo, Fruit Loops, Nutri-Grain, Pop-Tarts, and Rice Krispie Treats or Rice Krispies. The main thing to know about this, or the key takeaway, is that by separating out their different brands, they can tailor them to they can tailor their marketing appropriately for each audience. So for like the Smart Start or Nutri-Grain, that's clearly an adult audience who wants to eat healthy. But then for their Rice Krispies and their Fruit Loops, then that is being marketed to small children or maybe even grown adult children. Okay, but do you see the difference? The main thing is to separate them out, because confused minds don't buy, and by doing this you add a lot more credibility to your brands. Now let's go back to the slides really quick. So you all should have gotten this earlier, but it does have hyperlinks to these resources, to include the SBA, a guide from Intuit. That's basically QuickBooks. That's the company for that, as well as this good article by the Small Business Trends. So I'm just going to show you really quick each of these articles so that you can look at it at your own leisure and make an informed decision about whether or not a DBA is right for you. It's a little bit beyond the scope of this webinar to talk about this, but there will be an attorney at the 3-day conference, and then this is something you can also discuss with your local business counselor to see whether or not this is a good starting point for you, especially if you haven't registered your business yet. Okay, there's a lot of different advantages to starting off as a DBA. Okay, so this one's from the Small Business Administration. This is a guide that you can download from Intuit. Okay, they're the big publisher of QuickBooks, as well as this article by Business Trends.
Vehicle accident, and USAA has
Let me
resources
turn this off.
Smartphone. They had a button where
okay, I'm going to close this.
I was able to.
Anyway, those are all hyperlinked there for you. So let's go back to my slides really quick. With the DBA, you can set up as many as you want. If you're a sole proprietor, you can set up a DBA in place of an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp for now, and it allows you to basically take payment for your business or whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, some of you have more than one business, and this is a good way to separate them out. The other advantage of having a DBA is that some banks will let you put them deposit all your money into one or two accounts. It really depends on the bank. So for my bank, I have one DBA per account, so there's a checking and savings, but I have more than one DBA, and it just streamlines everything, both in terms of record keeping and bookkeeping, as well as your expenses. It really helps to cut down on the costs. So this is something to consider in case you have, well, actually most of the class has more than one business idea. It helps you to separate them out. Okay, now let's talk about value. This week we're talking about niches, the value chain. So this is something that I want to cover for all of you. Just as a reminder, value is defined from the customer's perspective, okay? And it can be anything. It can be convenience. Think of Amazon, Uber, Airbnb. Quality, like Land's End, okay, they'll take anything. They will take returns from any time, and it can be any reason. Along the lines of quality, I'm also thinking of your higher end automobiles like the BMW, Mercedes, that kind of quality. That's what people are willing to pay for. Okay, service, think of personal mobile services, custom services. Now for that, you can the advantage of that and what people are willing to pay for is the more customized the service, the higher the price. Okay, again, it's whatever your customers are willing to pay you for. And then the last value is price. So Walmart is the leader in low prices. Okay, or on the other hand, or conversely, sometimes people perceive higher value from something that from something that costs more. Hold on one second. Let me just pause this. All right, here we go. All right, so again, that's whatever your customers are willing to pay for. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about different examples of value-added activities. It's a little bit more apparent with the service industries as well as the product-based industries. Now, for those of you who are providing a service, clearly, if your customers are paying you a lot of money, then they're going to expect a higher degree of professionalism. This is especially true for our consulting firms as well as our professional firms, such as your accountants and your attorneys. And then, if you're a medical professional, what is it that you add value to that your customers are willing to go to you instead of your competitors? Now, if you're in the product-based industry, it can be anything. Maybe somebody wants to buy from you because you offer American-made products or veteran-made products. It can also be your quality as well as the cost of your products. You can also have a social mission that somebody is willing to pay for or to pay extra for, and a really good example of that is Tom's Shoes. Okay, for nonprofits, this is not always so obvious. The main thing for you is to build relationships with potential donors and sponsors. Okay, the example I'm going to give right now is one of this was an IVMF grad. I think she went to the EBV program. But let me go ahead and show you an example of what she does. She actually her nonprofit raises money to provide ballroom dancing lessons to help veterans combat post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. So what she does, how she adds value, not just to her end users who are those clients, she partners with Arthur Murray Dance Studios, and they're the ones that actually hold the fundraisers for her. So they have dance-offs, people pay to attend those, and then they do ballroom dancing for hours. All that money goes back, it goes to her organization, which she in turn pays that Arthur Murray Studios and gives away these ballroom dancing lessons for free. So if you can find a way to partner with somebody who's going to benefit from your nonprofit and whatever services that you offer, that's a way to generate value both with your end users as well as your customers, who are the people who are giving you the money. Okay? All right, so I just wanted to point out that example for you. All right, and then the rest of these are pretty self-explanatory, but again, for the nonprofits, you need to show the value of their donation. Okay, like you sent X number of kids to a special camp, or you paid for 10 free lessons for 10 veterans who are now able to work for an entire year because they've been able to alleviate their post-traumatic stress symptoms. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, you just need to show how it is that you're offering value. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This isn't so much an example of value, but more fundraising activities or just ways to generate funds, mostly for our nonprofits, because this comes up in every single class. Let me go ahead and show this slide. All right. So examples of fundraisers, and you can all help each other out. It seems like a lot of people have for-profit activities which they later use to fund their nonprofit activities so they can give away some of the money that they've earned. It's all about creating wealth for yourselves as well as for others and then paying it forward. So in terms of fundraisers, dinners are always very popular, not just the dinners that you yourself host, but having dinners at restaurants where you get a percentage of the profits from those customers that you bring in who are bringing them business. Okay, so like, I'm trying to think of a restaurant like El Chico's or Firo's. I don't even know if that's a national chain. Maybe they'll give you back 10% of the profits from the people who come in to support your fundraiser. Auctions are really big. Again, the dance marathons from like Arthur Murray Studios. It really depends on your audience. Like, I know that this comes up a lot in this class because there's always a lot of women veteran nonprofit organizations. So for that, I've seen fashion shows, makeovers, and then the other popular fundraisers include raffles and crowdfunding. The thing with crowdfunding, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and you end up spending a lot of money in terms of marketing. So if you have a big social media following, crowdfunding might work for you guys. All right, yeah, Applebee's, Sizzlers, those are really good examples. Thank you, Ruth. Okay, there's also revenue generating activities. And again, if you're going to do this, I encourage you all to reach out to your accountants because of the tax consequences. It's a lot trickier for nonprofits, and I can't even begin to explain it. So merchandise that you're going to sell, it can include clothing, hats, books, cookbooks. The other thing that people tend to forget are that you can charge membership dues for your services. A lot of you are offering a service, and maybe if you charge a minimal fee, and it all goes back into your operating expenses, then that's a way to generate more consistent revenue, okay? As well as program fees. So not just membership, but if they're getting a service, maybe charge a little bit for it, $20 a year. I mean, that's pretty reasonable, especially for some of the services that you are all offering, especially if you're offering like 10 hours worth of services. I think that's kind of reasonable, or you can do it based on a sliding scale depending on what they can afford. And then another thing that you can do, it's kind of passive income, would be advertising on your website. So let's say some of you, I'm trying to think, if you have like a high percentage of a certain market, the example I'm going to give is somebody from EBV. He houses homeless veterans, but the way he does it, he vets them, and then they're already like pre-approved for the housing vouchers. Is it HUD, HUD, the housing vouchers? But he's already done the work ahead of time, and so I mean he could technically charge people to advertise on his website, and that goes back into that nonprofit, okay? Because it all goes back to housing those veterans. The other thing that I mentioned from last week is that most Fortune 500 companies have foundations, and those foundations support different causes. So those are ways to find grants for whatever it is that you are doing for your cause, okay? And then sometimes other actually a lot of nonprofits offer grants as well, to include the United Way, Disabled American Veterans, the Bob Woodruff Foundation, but they have grant competitions every year, so those are other things to look into, as well as grants.gov. Okay, yes, thank you, Isha. The HUD-VASH vouchers, that's what I'm trying to talk about. I'm not a realtor, and I don't know that space well, but that's what he was doing. Okay, for individual donation or just donations in general, you can apply to advertise, well, not so much advertise, but to be listed in that combined federal campaign, where people can donate a certain amount to your nonprofit every month from their LES or from their paycheck, as well as Amazon Smiles. I know a lot of people are doing that, and most of them have told me that they don't get a whole lot from it, but that can be another way to generate some passive income. Okay, I really like Blackbaud and this giving report because it focuses on the psychographics of the donors. So that's something that you want to consider, not just for as a nonprofit, but for all of you. What is it that makes these people buy from you? Because then you can design your products and services in a way that will relieve their customer pain. Okay, and then the link is right here. Okay, so this week one of the assignments was to identify who in your value chain could help you with whatever you need to get your business off the ground. So the value chain looks like this. It's basically a diagram, but it consists of 9 activities. So these are the primary activities, and these are your supporting activities. They support these activities here, which help you to produce and deliver your products and services to your customers in a way that adds value. So that's why it's called the value chain. But it does it in a way to increase your margins. Okay, that's what that means. Oops, let's go ahead and go back to this. So the value chain is a set of activities that delivers value to the customers, and it's where your competitive advantage resides. Okay, so these activities, and we're going to go through this really quickly, include your inbound logistics. That means your warehousing, your inventory control. And this was really designed by Michael Porter for the manufacturing industry. But if you look up value chain and you type in your industry, there's a different value chain for each industry to include consulting. So I want to encourage you to do that, because it's going to break down each activity so you know what it is that you need to focus on. Okay, the main thing is that you can only be good at 1 or 2 or 3 of these primary activities. So that's going to be up to you to figure that out. Okay, so there's inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, how you process your orders or you ship them or deliver them, marketing and sales, which includes both your promotion as well as your distribution. So this can include your online stores or your partners, how you get them out to your customers. And then service. This includes your installation, repair, as well as your customer service. So these are the 5 primary activities, and then we're going to talk really briefly on the supporting activities, because they do affect your ultimate delivery to your customers. And those include the firm infrastructure, human resources, technology development, and procurement. Okay, so here's an example for you from Starbucks. So their unique value proposition is customer service. So the way they focus on that is through training, which helps give them a strong competitive advantage, which yields healthy returns. So if we were going to diagram this in a value chain, it's going to look like this. Okay, so these were all the supporting activities and the primary activities, but since they focus so heavily on training, it is reflected in their superior customer service. I know my slides keep going in and out. I should have stopped the automatic timing on this. Okay, and the last thing I want to cover, actually there's one more thing after this, are the niches or the niches. This is basically your customer segmentation, the different groups of people who are going to buy from you, and this is really important to identify them. There was actually a video in last week's office hours that that will take you through an exercise to identify your different niches. And if you guys want the worksheet that came with that, that program manager sent it to me, and I can give it to you. I know one of your classmates requested it, and he was very gracious about sending it. It was really helpful in helping you to break down your different niches, and I'm happy to pass that along to you. But basically, it is a niche are groups of individuals who self-identify in these different categories. So we, as women veterpreneurs and military spouses, are our own niche. And then you can break it down even further into like fashionistas, the foodies, the professionals, and then you can segment them even further based on their category. So the travelers, there's adventure seekers, wellness travelers, and business travelers, and they all have some different overlapping synergies, and you'll find that as you go through these different reports. The importance of this is that as you study the different niches, you'll come to understand the psychology of what they're looking for and why they buy. Okay, so this can be a real challenge if you're not sure, especially if you are operating in a different competitive space than what you're a part of. So this will take some research on your part. Go through social media, look at the hashtags they're following and how they're labeling themselves, and then you'll be able to type in those niches and basically find reports on why they buy and how you can market to them. Okay, let me go through the last slide. Okay, and then I want to talk about the BAIL team. BAIL stands for banker, accountant, your insurance agent, and your lawyer. So even if you don't have these people identified, start looking around and asking for recommendations, because these people are going to be an important part of your team. Okay, your banker at some point, everyone should be setting up a separate bank account, even if you're a sole proprietor, because you don't want to commingle funds, because you will lose the veil of protection that you're supposed to have when you start your own business and you register it as a legal entity. Okay, a lot of what I'm talking about, they're going to cover at the 3-day conference, and then this is something that you can speak with your local business counselor about as well. Okay, but definitely get recommendations for each of these different members of your BAIL team. And then you can also have what's called an advisory board. Okay, for now, you can always ask people to be part of this just to give you some free advice, okay, where they're not committed to giving you a certain amount of hours every month or every week, because at that point you're going to end up giving them equity so that they can be paid members of your board. So you just want the free advisory board members for now, people to bounce your ideas off of, get some feedback, and that will be really good for you to see whether or not you're on the right track. All right, and also to give you some advice on best practices. All right, so this is all I have for the slides. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. I'm going to go through the chat room. Let me stop sharing my screen really quick. And I'm going to share the link to Google Hangouts. So if anybody wants to join me, I'm going to put it in the chat room. And then if you want to get your questions answered live, I'm happy to do that. It's actually easier for me to talk to you and answer your questions this way than to read it from the chat room and misinterpret it. So if you have a Gmail account, then you'll be able to join me live on the chat room. We only have about 20 minutes on YouTube before we switch over to the other platforms. So I'm going to go ahead and start going through the questions on the chat room. Okay, Brianna, just remind me and I will send you those worksheets from Elvis. So Brianna and Clarissa, right? If you can send me an email, then I can just reply and include it as an attachment for you both. Sheena, oh my goodness. I was at a procurement conference, and one of the ladies there, she worked for one of the mental health agencies in town, and that was her business. She or her side business was doing hiring people to go into those homes to do the cleanings. I want to say it had something to do with one of the disability agencies. I want to say it was Voc Rehab or something associated with mental health, because she had access to information that most people would not have had. Okay, Isha, you sent me an email as well, and Kelly. Let me write a list. Yeah, so the question that Sheena just asked me, Sheena does she does a lot of different services for, is it property management companies? Okay, and one of them includes cleaning services. So when you're going to these different networking events to include procurement, and the best way to find out about that is to just set up an appointment with the local procurement technical assistance center. They're called PTACs. They might even have a different acronym in some states. So I'm going to type it in right here. Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Hi Ruth, thanks for joining me. PTAC. And if you just type that in and type in the name of your state, it's going to bring up that office, and that's how you can ask to be put on the mailing list for all those events. And that's where I met this woman. I wish I remembered which agency she worked for. I think it was just the local mental health facility in town, and that's how she was able to give me that information. Okay. So for those of you who are joining me, I'm going to mute your microphones until you're ready to ask me a question, or you can type it into the chat room on Google Hangouts as well. But I want to encourage all of you to join me. And you know what, Ruth? I always make mistakes on this platform, so don't worry about it. So anyway, please join us, and then we're going to move this over in about 15 more minutes. So yeah, Sheena, the Georgia, is it Georgia PTAC? Carolyn, yours is 150 miles away? Wow. They should still have some networking events close by you though, right? For those of you who are looking into procurement, I'm going to go ahead and type it into the chat room. So they have what are called speed dating and matchmaking events. And these are good ways to not just connect with other businesses. You will actually meet with the program managers from agencies who provide opportunities for small businesses. Okay, basically to do business with them. So that's why I want to encourage you to look into that. Okay, the Georgia Tech. Yes, very good. So you're in Georgia. All right. Let me see. I'm going to look something up really quick for Sheena. Georgia. Oh, what are they called? If you all know the right term for, I want to say, for different mental health, anything related to mental health that is some sort of government agency. She's looking to connect with people in that space so that she can offer her services for cleaning. A lot of those clients are at risk for eviction because they don't keep their housing clean. And maybe too, Sheena, you can just pop by some of the doctor's offices, any of those agencies that deal with those patients, and just let them know that this is what you offer, because it's not something that people are going to be ready to talk about. It's, one of those those hidden wounds that's kind of private. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so this is what I got when I typed in Georgia and mental health. It might be under the Office of Disabilities. So if you start at least from there, Sheena, maybe it'll eventually connect you with the right people to talk to. Okay, and that goes for all of you who are doing some sort of procurement. All right. All right, good. Oh, perfect. Sheena, look above you. Isha, am I saying your name correctly? Is it I with a long E sound or a short I? But her recommendation was perfect. Connecting with the homeless coalitions. Good, thank you. That's it. So she just hit the nail on the head with the issues I'm trying to describe. It has to do with both disabilities and hoarding and a lot of psychological, behavioral issues. All right, good. All right, good. I like seeing all the discussions in the forum, so I really appreciate all of you reaching out to one another and supporting each other. Okay. Ruth, is there something I can do to help you or answer any questions of yours? I appreciate you just joining me. Sometimes I'm just here by myself. Let me unmute you. Okay, now I don't even know how to do this. If you go to your microphone, you can, if you click on it, it should allow you to speak. Okay, we can hear you. Yeah. It's a little bit low. Okay, it's a long I. Thank you, Aisha. Okay. I can't really hear you. Is your microphone on? Here, let me see if I turn up my volume. And you can also type into the chat room, Ruth, in case I can't hear you well enough. Okay, one of the questions is when will we get more information on next weekend's conference? Deanna is working on all that. She's hoping to have a webinar or an office hours next week for all of you to answer those questions. Okay. I know that a question came up in the Ask the Expert forum about the agenda. There is a sample agenda online, and it is on the VWise website. Let me type it in so I can just copy and paste. I'm not going to be there, so I can't really answer a lot of those questions for you, but I can at least give you, I can direct you to the right pages on the website. So for phase 2, I'm going to pull it up right now so you can look at a sample agenda so you can make sure that you're getting there on time. Okay, good, Kelly. I'm glad you used the Pittsburgh one. I don't think it's changed much at all. The agenda has stayed the same since VWise started. It takes several months to coordinate with all those speakers and the hotel and all of you. So I don't think it's going to change much. So at least you'll know the schedule of the events from Friday until it ends on Sunday. Okay, everything is due by Friday. Yes. Ruth, I'm going to look right now. If any of you need an extension on any of the assignments, please let me know. Technically, everything is due by Friday midnight Eastern Standard Time. If you need more time, just get it in online by Sunday midnight Eastern Standard Time. Okay, most of you will have it in by Friday because I know everybody at this point is just tired of working on the online course, and I don't blame you because next week you're going to be really busy getting ready to go to San Diego. So just do your best to get it into me by the end of the weekend. All right. You know, I need to go through everybody's discussions because some of you, right now I'm showing, like for Ruth, it shows 3 things, but you might have turned stuff in between now and the last time that I looked at this. Yeah. Okay. All right, good. Yes, Kelly, just the video assignments, and everybody else, like if you need the weekend, just turn it in by Sunday. I actually check to make sure all the discussion forums are turned in, and I'll even go until like Tuesday of next week if I know that you're struggling and you need more time. So I mean, I don't mind. This is a lot of work getting all these assignments done. As far as the written assignments, keep working on them, but make sure that you are meeting with a business counselor or a really good advisor or mentor. It doesn't have to be somebody from the SBA, SBDC. We just recommend them because that is their full-time job. But if you are good friends with a business owner or you have a mentor that you want to connect with and have them go over your stuff, that's fine too. You want to surround yourself with as many people who can help you with your venture. Okay? Oh, Aisha, you know what? Sometimes with Moodle, and this has happened to me so many times, and I've been teaching for IVMF for 4 years. If the weather is bad or the internet is just acting weird, it will lose my post. So it's really frustrating. I always have Microsoft Word open just in case I type out this really long post and I have a funny feeling, and then I'll just copy it and put it on the Word document and see if it sends. So either way, I try to back up my work, but it's not always possible. You just never know. That's technology for you. The written assignments, those assignments, you will have access to Moodle for 1 year after the conference ends. So if you don't finish all the written assignments, you can still download them from the course files. So I hope I understood your question correctly, Carolyn. But yes, they will stay up on the site. All right. Jenna, if you can't make it by Friday, just get it in by Sunday. And if you're still struggling, just email me and I will keep looking until you've turned it in, okay? So you can all still keep communicating with one another on the Moodle website even after the conference ends. Usually at that point, everyone's exchanged business cards, you've connected with one another on LinkedIn, or you've passed along email information. I know from a lot of the classes, they'll just start texting each other like while they're there at the conference just to make sure they have that contact info. A lot of the VWise classes also start their own closed Facebook pages. There is a national, what we as students did was we created our own national VWise alumni Facebook group. Here, let me see if I can find it, and I'll put it on the chat room. This Facebook is not my strong suit, so I'm not even sure if I'm doing this correctly. I actually pay somebody to post my social media. That's how much I don't enjoy it. Okay, I don't even know how to find this group. So anyway, if you all want to join this group, I will vouch for you. It's a really long link. It's not a secret society. Sometimes Deanna will call us that, but we're not. We're not a secret society. So anyway, that's on there now. What other questions can I answer for you all? We have about 4 more minutes. Yes, there is a LinkedIn group for VWise. That one's not as active. I don't see people posting as much. Okay. All right. Are there any questions about the assignments or anything that you want me to help you with for your business? Okay, good. I'm glad to see that a lot of you have joined these groups already. Kelly, you can change the background on your PowerPoint pitch. Now, when you are pitching at VWise, if you're, and Deanna's going to talk about this during her office hours for phase 2, it's just a regular pitch without PowerPoint slides. So it's, what is it called? There's a name for it. There are going to be 3 breakout sessions that evening. Larry Broughton has the jam session where he helps brainstorm your idea, and then there's another lady who runs the pitches, but you'll basically be reading it off your cards or a sheet of paper if you don't have it memorized. So you won't actually be doing a PowerPoint pitch, but it's still good to have that ready. You just never know when that opportunity will come up. Just the only thing you have to turn in, Yvette, are just the discussion forums. At least to me, that's what they're tracking. And then the written assignments, you can go over those with either a business counselor or a mentor, a friend. Okay. Okay. The elevator pitch. There are all sorts of different templates for elevator pitches. The elevator pitch got its name because it's 90 seconds. It's the time you would take to pitch your idea to a CEO of a company. Like if you were to be on an elevator, go up and down on an elevator with them. Okay, that's why it's called an elevator pitch. That's how it got its name. Very short, super succinct, and it's got to be able to grab their attention and solve a problem. Larry has a good template for it. Honestly, I don't really use my elevator pitch. And I've won several thousands of dollars for, through business plan competitions for pitches, but what I found is that if you're just willing to sit down and talk with somebody and figure out what their pain point is and how you can refer business to them, it always comes back to me in that way. So, because people just don't like to be sold. I know you all have a lot of experience with this. Jenna, I know you're not the only one who got an empty envelope that was supposed to have books in them. They are really busy at the IVMF office trying to get ready for next week. So if you can just be patient, you can speak to Deanna about the books then. And I don't know if the publisher will be able to replace them or not. Carolyn, you don't have to pitch. There's going to be a breakout session Saturday evening where you can watch other people pitch, but a lot of them want feedback, and I think her name is Isa Sarah Bay. She's very good at helping people develop their pitches. There was a noticeable difference when she did that at one of the conferences, and all of those entrepreneurs who had made it to the final round of the competition gave their pitches. A much noticeable difference. Jenna, you'll have to share your elevator pitch experience and what came about from that. Okay. Good, Kelly. You really are ready for a competition. IVMF has grant competitions throughout the year. Actually, they usually do one a year. Nobody ever knows when they're coming out. So it's good to keep working on all this stuff. All these homework assignments will help you to develop a business plan, which then can be streamlined into a pitch. So keep working on it. Keep going to your business counselors and getting feedback from not just your counselors, but people who don't know anything about your business. Because if you can speak to them in a way that they can figure it out, they will refer people to you. Okay, that's the value of the pitch. And every time you go to a new event or join an organization like the Chamber of Commerce, or any of these networking events, the first thing they're going to say is, what do you do? What is your pitch? So you need to be ready. 90 seconds or less. Hi, I'm so-and-so. We help, and then whatever group that you help with, and then name the pain point, by, and then your innovative solution, and that should be it in 90 seconds. All right. There's all sorts of creative pitches out there. You can just look at YouTube, and you'll really be blown away. And it's good to keep working on this. When I went to VWise, I was completely unprepared. Remember, my business that I have now was just an idea. I couldn't design e-learning for the life of me, and I couldn't even get my pitch out coherently. And then I kept working on it that entire year. Less than a year later, I won $25,000 in my first competition. So it can be done. Just keep working on it. Should we bring this work with us? It's up to you. Yes, you will have a chance to pitch. You have to sign up for that pitch party. I think it's called the pitch party ahead of time. I don't even know when you do it. Hopefully when Deanna has the Phase 2 webinar, you can ask her. But they limit it to like 12 people, and then you go up there and you give your pitch. So here's another example. I gave the worst pitch out of that group in VWise, and there was another lady who was probably, whose pitch was a little bit better than mine, and both she and I ended up winning competitions like well after VWise. So anything is possible. Aisha, you know, I know it's really easy to feel overwhelmed with all of this. If you can develop some friends at VWise, or even just within your area, to just start talking, you know, talking things over with, just it really more for stress relief than anything else, because this is also overwhelming. It will help you to feel better. You just need a group of friends. I want to challenge you all to find some friends at VWise. We can teach you all the technical skills that you need. That really doesn't matter. Everything is right here between the 6 inches in your head. And part of it is having a support group. That's the benefit of all of this. That's why we make the discussion forums mandatory, because now you have to talk to each other. And then you get to know each other before you even get to the conference. That's the purpose of the Google Hangouts too. Okay. I'm not going to be at the conference. I want to see pictures of all of you, so please tag me so I can see what you're wearing. Okay, Kelly has a special outfit, and I just want to see that you are all having fun. This program was meaningful and valuable to me, and my prayer for all of you is that you find the same thing. Okay, I still have some of the friends that I met from VWise years ago. Carolyn, I challenge you to get up there and do your pitch. I know it's easy to sit there and watch other people do it. Okay, I'm the type who would just sit in the back and just let other people do everything. But you have a great venture. You are a subject matter expert. You need to get out there and start telling people what you do, because there's a shortage of you, which means you're going to have to hire other people to help you, which is a great way for you to create jobs or opportunities for your sister veterans. There. Y'all get on her and encourage her to do the same thing. Okay. Sheena, and I know everybody else has this, you know, the same issues with automation. I think just having some people to encourage you on in the beginning will help, and then getting into a routine and tackling one obstacle after the other. It just takes some time. These overnight successes that you hear about took 10 years to get there. So don't give up. Don't feel discouraged. Reach out to your VY sisters. I want to go to Seattle and meet with all of you, Jenna. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know what? I'm supposed to end this. It's yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. We're a little behind. I'm going to end this broadcast. Everyone, take out your phones, dial the phone number that I emailed to you, and then click on the link for Zoom, and I'll see you in a few minutes on the other platform. All right, thanks for joining us. See you soon.